Welcome to Rita's Kitchen. Today we'll be making stuffed chicken marsala. But first thing first, in Rita's Kitchen, what must you do? Wash your hands. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. For those who might not know the proper steps, I'm going to go ahead and give you a briefing. First thing you want to do is lather your hands up. Go up your arm a bit. Back down your hands in between your fingers. Up underneath those nail beds. And what you're doing is capturing any bacteria or any germs before working with anybody's food. Okay, now that my hands are clean, we're going to get started on this dish, stuffed chicken marsala. First thing we need with this dish is what? The chicken. So now I'm going to tell you guys some of the things that we're going to do to create the actual stuffed chicken marsala. So of course we have to make the base, which is the sauce, the gravy, and you want to use a marsala wine. That's where your marsala comes from. You don't have to buy a jug this big. I do a lot of cooking, so things in big quantities is really good for me. You can get a small bottle at any one of your local grocery stores, Walmarts or whatever. We're going to do a baby bella mushroom in that. We're going to do a minced garlic, a heavy cream, and we're going to pump up the flavor with a beef bouillon cube. I like to use the Knorr brand. That's the best. Now that's your actual gravy for your stuffed chicken marsala. Now with your filling that's going inside of your chicken, what you want to use is a Italian seasoned breadcrumb. Any brand is totally up to you. You want to use a grated Parmesan cheese, a mozzarella. I went with Sargento. I like Sargento. It's up to you, whatever you want to use. A sun-dried tomato. These comes in a jar in oil, so when making the actual filling, if you use them all, you want to definitely drain that oil. But another thing, to wake your filling up, you can add some of that oil to your filling. And you want to use about a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. And what's going to make it moist is that sour cream. Sour cream is going to bind all that together and get it really, really nice and gooey. So we're using 3 cheeses though. What I did not mention, I went with a smoky provolone cheese to go at the bottom. I didn't mix it in my mix because I wanted to really be stretchy and really gooey and good. So this is going to go on the bottom. Then I'm going to add that mix in the middle. And what that mix going to do is actually going to moisten up and cook almost like a soft bread because of those cheeses, that sour cream, and also the oil from those sun-dried tomatoes. And if you can't find them, sun-dried tomatoes, in a actual jar, they also sell them in a package that's all the way dried out. So it's totally up to you on how you want to do that. Okay, that was a lot of rambling. Now back to what we're going to do. So first thing I want to do with this dish is start my actual gravy. So we're going to go over here to my cooking area and we're going to get started with making this marsala gravy. Okay, now that we're back and I've transferred all of my ingredients over to go ahead and make this marsala gravy sauce, I'm going to tell you guys the steps to do this. So what I did was I melted me down 3 tablespoons of butter, put 2 tablespoons of minced garlic in, let that saute a little bit. Now I'm going to add some baby bellas to this and let them saute down for maybe about 5 minutes or so. And you can add as many mushrooms as you want depending on how much you love your mushrooms. Okay, once that wilts down, we'll start adding our liquids and stuff. Okay, so now my mushrooms have cooked down and went ahead and sauteed the way I want them to. Now I'm going to start adding my marsala wine, and I'm going to use about 16 to 24 ounces of this. So anywhere from 2 to 3 cups. Then I'm going to allow that to get hot. And then I'm going to add my beef bouillon cube, and then my heavy cream. So we're going to let this ride out for about maybe 8 to 10 minutes or so before I add anything else to it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do a little multitasking in the kitchen today. Why not? Our gravy is on cooking. So let's get started on this chicken that we need for the actual stuffed chicken marsala. So first thing I'm going to do is dredge it in a little bit of flour, but I have allowed my pan to get hot with about maybe 1 inch of oil, not much, because all I'm doing is searing it just enough, because we're going to do things a little bit different than I actually do other stuffed things. So I'm going to cook it just a bit on each side, then pull it out, let it cool for a second, then stuff it and stick it back in the oven for a bit. So let's get started. Oh, and don't forget, you guys, I made a boo-boo. Don't forget to butterfly those chickens, because you got to stuff it. So stuffing it, of course, you got to cut it down. But if you want to know how to do that properly, I did that on another YouTube tutorial a little bit ago with my stuffed, I think it was a stuffed Parmesan chicken. You could go check out, but I showed you how to actually butterfly the chicken the proper way. So go ahead and check that out as well. I have some really good vids out there you guys can start watching and getting used to. That's a nice big one, so we're going to go with a little baby one. So we're going to let it cook for maybe 3 minutes on each side, then we'll pull it. Be back in a sec. Okay, so now our marsala gravy is boiling really good. So now it's time to start adding some more valuable components to bring this gravy to completion. So we're going to add a tablespoon and a half of the beef bouillon cube. Again, I like the brand Knorr. It's really, really good. The seasoning is on point. So again, about a tablespoon and a half. If you think you need more for your palate, go right ahead. So we're going to go ahead and stir that in really well. Then we're going to add about 4 ounces of heavy cream. And now we're going to go ahead and let it simmer and allow it to wake up all those flavors that we got going on. If you want to add some fresh parsley or a little lemon or some more garlic, it's totally up to you what you do with your dish. So taste it and make sure it's up to your liking. But since we're camera rolling and the cameraman is doing good, let's go right over here to this chicken. It's smelling really good. It looks like it's time to be flipped. Again, we're not cooking it thoroughly. We're just cooking it a bit to get a little bit of colorization on the outside. And then we're going to actually pull it and let it cool for about 5 minutes. And then stuff it with the actual stuffing that brings this dish to stuffed chicken marsala. Alrighty, be back in a sec. Okay, now that we're back, I've took that chicken out the skillet. I've let it cool for 5 minutes. And I've already butterflied it, so I'm going to start stuffing it with this good filling that goes in this chicken stuffed marsala. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a half a piece of, depending on the size of the chicken, I'm doing a half for this size, but I'm going to do a whole for a couple of the other ones. A half a piece of aged smoky provolone. Then we're going to do about 2 ounces of that stuffing. So, and stuff it really, really good, because that's some good stuff in there. So again, I butterflied these already. We're going to open it up. That's a pretty big one, so we're going with a whole piece of cheese on this one. We're going to do about 2 to 3 ounces in this big baby, because this is a big one. So that's going to be great. And I know the mix might look a little tight, but don't forget everything that's in there. So when it cooks, it's going to loosen up and become like a muscaline in your mouth, just really silky and good, and all these flavors are just going to play around in your palate. So then again, we're going to go ahead and stuff this one. That's a half. We're going to do about 2 ounces on that one. Okay, there we go. And we just, you know, repeating the steps until you're done. So I usually use the old Grandma Faithful, but I didn't today. I got a beautiful roaster myself. I just don't never use it because I love to use my grandma things. Where I'm going to go ahead and place my chicken in there, and I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 20 minutes. And when I take it out, I'm going to top it with that I'm going to top it with that Marsala gravy, mushroom Marsala gravy, and I'm going to show you guys how it came out, which is going to be a taste of art, not a work of art, a taste of art. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I wanted to come back sooner than later, simply because I forgot to tell my great viewers a key point. And you know I'm good at letting you guys know when I've missed out on something that's valuable information. When you put your chicken in your roaster pan, you do not need to add any additional liquid. Why? Because you did not cook your chicken thoroughly, and it's still going to seek out its natural juices. So that's all I wanted to tell you guys. Be back in 20 minutes. Okay, so now while I was stuffing the chicken to go in the oven, I had my mushroom Marsala gravy simmering. And as you guys see, it looks good. It's coming together really well. It's a bit much gravy for the amount of chicken I'm doing, so it's still a little loose. So what I've decided to do is take 1 tablespoon of that cornstarch, you know, that lock it up, and I've decided to mix it with a little bit of the heavy whipping cream, and instead of loose, it becomes a paste. That way I didn't add water, and it don't allow my gravy to disconnect. So what I'm going to do is add a spoonful of this cornstarch and heavy cream to my gravy just to thicken it a little bit. And I'm more than sure that 1 spoon was like plenty, and the rest will be going down the drain because too thick is not good. But this right here, this is like magic, baby. Look at this. And the more it cook, the better it's gonna tighten up, and those flavors are just flowing through. It's just real good over here. So now all we're waiting on is our chicken to get done and for us to plate this beautiful meal up and eat good tonight. Be back in a sec. As I told you guys earlier, all you needed was to bring that gravy to the perfect state of thickness is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and a little bit of that heavy whipping cream. And what did it do? It locked it right on up. Look at that gravy. It's beautiful, it's silky, and it's ready to go on our chicken stuffed Marsala. Be back in a sec. Okay, so now we have allowed our stuffed chicken to cook and cook thoroughly. This is how it looks in the pot before topping it with our Marsala gravy, mushroom Marsala gravy. Oh, look at that. Oh, good. Wait a minute. stuffed chicken marsala. Voila!